Hey there, thank you for watching. My name's Melissa. I am a wife. My husband and I have been married for 10 years and we have 3 kids, 9 months, 4, almost 5. You know that matters in kids' worlds. And 7, probably 8 by the time that you're watching this. And this is the Creative Ways Schoolhouse. I'm sharing all about our homeschool journey, what life is like for our family who is currently about to jump on the road full-time and travel in our RV and just do life on the road, work, homeschool, and just a full-time adventure. So thank you for joining today.
Today, Junior!
I want to talk a little bit about why we plan on traveling full-time and really what our hopes, our vision is for our family, and then talk about individual goals and kind of priorities for each of my students, I'll say, and how we plan on like taking full advantage of all the things that we're going to experience, and how we're planning for like how I'm attempting to plan, I guess you could say, for like so much that we can't plan.
Makes sense.
Let's dive into it. So I think the first thing for our family is that this has always been just exploring, traveling, experiencing things, meeting people, hearing their stories has always been a desire of in my husband's heart and in mine. We're really excited to give our kids such a unique experience and to give them such a wider perspective that there's so much more out there just in our country alone. Like, we're so blessed to live where we are because we have such a diverse landscape. We have a diverse like population. Anyways, that's without like spending all my time talking about that. That's one of the biggest whys, is just because it's a huge desire in our heart. We have very strategically built our businesses and our lifestyle around the idea of time freedom. When my husband and I got married, we were both self-employed, maybe foolishly self-employed. We eventually figured it out, I think, but it took some time. Thank goodness there were no kids yet. But the whole idea for us was that when we have kids, we want to be able to be home with them. We want to have the option to go with them during, to wherever in the middle of the week. And so like homeschool was always something we wanted to do, and just having that time freedom was something we always desired as a family. And so we've sacrificed for it. It has not been glamorous. It has not been easy. There's been lots of tears. There's been lots of like budgeting and scraping by. But we're so blessed to be able to be home as a family, to work from home, to school from home, and just do life from home. And now it's going to be on the road. And like, that was one of the reasons why we wanted to build this lifestyle, so we had that flexibility. Our vision for our family this year, just some of the things we want to be more intentional about this year, is, I think, number one, just being in the moment and experiencing things as a family together. We're really excited about kind of redefining our family culture, our family unit, building our family as a team. And I mean, we've always done that, but we just get to do it in like a new way for a new season, because it's just going to be us. It's like, it's not us versus the world, but it's like us like on an adventure in the world. And so I'm really looking forward to what that's going to do to like strengthen and like bond our family together, specifically my older daughters. They are great together. They play great, but I think there's going to be a lot of growth, and growth can be hard. I'm not like Pollyanna over here, but it is really good, even in the hard. So that's number one. It's just experience it and like reestablish our family culture. And then the other goal and vision for our family is to document, we are creative to the core, my husband and I. It's why we call we've coined ourselves and our channels the Creative Way. which is just a natural extension of who we are. I actually feel like everybody's created to create and has the ability and has the calling to create. I won't go onto that pedestal. Not pedestal. I won't go onto that soapbox. But we really want to focus on just stretching our creative muscles, documenting in a variety of ways so that we can look back on this season when we eventually get off the road. We don't know how long we'll be on the road. We can look back and like remember those memories, and it will have been documented in ways that are like specific to us, I guess is the best way. So that's one of our focuses in homeschool even, is to spend time learning how to like journal, focusing on like creative ventures like scrapbooking and taking photos and drawing, just whatever is a natural inclination for each of my kids, to be able to steward that for the mere focus and for the mere intention of just documenting so that they can look back and see and remember and recall the things that we experience. Okay, so let's go into kind of overall, I might have already hit on it, overall our homeschool vision for this next school year, 24-25. And it's really hard to like plan. I mean, like I have no idea what life's gonna be like. I don't know where all we're going. I don't know what all we're gonna do. Like I can't, I've constantly been reminding myself, like, don't microplan. I cannot, this is just a season where I cannot microplan. I can't plan for the specific like unit studies that we're gonna be focusing on. I can't plan for what our daily schedule is gonna be like. I can't really microplan for any of that right now because I don't know. Like I know we'll have the daily schedule. I know we'll be doing different unit studies, but I just don't know yet what they are. So it's been I've just had to think really big picture when it comes to my goals and my vision for our homeschool this year. And overall, the couple of main things that I want to just be a reoccurring theme is, one, to focus on interest and strengths. So I want to be really focused on interest-led learning. I'm going to call it rabbit hole learning. Not rabbit hole. I'm going to call it rabbit trail learning. And we've done some of this in the past, but I just want to like make it just a part of our homeschool from here on out, is that we have the freedom to just dive into things that we're interested in, or when like my girls have the ability to ask a question and it's like, let's actually dive in and learn about it. What are you interested in learning? Maybe it's relevant to where we are, maybe it's not. I just want to ignite like that, a natural joy and a natural inclination of learning, right? To where it doesn't even feel like school. We're just like researching things, or maybe we're learning how to draw things. I just want to focus on interests and really capitalize on the fact that we're going to be exposed to so many new things that are going to come with questions, right? Like, how is this made? What is this for? Like, and I can't plan for that. The only thing I can do is like prepare my heart and my mind and some of my resources for what we might encounter on the road. So that will be in a future video. I feel like that was really vague, but I mean, I feel like my life is really vague currently.
Oh, details. Bibi Galini is not interested in details.
The other part of that is that I want to double down on their strengths. And this is particularly with my oldest. And I'm going to talk a little bit more when I go over individual goals for each of my students. I'm saying students because, like, if I say kids, I mean, I guess I can have goals for my 9-month-old. Stay cute. Okay, so double down on strengths. This is really just an overarching big picture. Like for me, it's just keeping the focus on yes, we need to have solid foundation of, you know, all of the basic reading, writing, arithmetic. But what are each of my girls really naturally good at? Where do their natural inclinations and strengths lie? Where do my natural inclinations and strengths lie? Like, let's focus on the things that we're interested in and on the things that we're naturally skilled and gifted in, and double down on it. Learn the act of discipline. Learn the act of like refining skill on the things that we're naturally inclined and interested in. So that's, I mean, they kind of pair together really well, but that's basically like the overarching vision for our homeschool this year. Okay, some other things that I also want to focus on this year is a knowledge and a skill set when it comes to like outdoor survival skills, but just outdoor, like common knowledge, common sense skills, direction, like hiking, fire knowledge. I just think that's going to be a natural extension of what we do anyways. We're very much outdoor people. And so I think they're just going to learn that, but I do want to put a focus on it. And then I also just want to fall back in love with reading good books. We have not been very consistent with read alouds. They've mostly been tied to our history, which has been great. We've enjoyed it. But I just want to fall back in love with like introducing the kids to good books. Like, just for the joy of reading and hearing rich vocabulary and just, I don't know, enticing them in that way. So that is our homeschool vision, goals, just some of the things that I want to keep in mind as we're moving forward in this like big adventure on the road. Now let's dive into some individual goals that I have for each of my girls. Okay, so let's actually start on my middle child, my youngest, who will be in like doing lessons. She will be turning 5 this year, right at the end of August. And she's right, like, I'm very grateful we don't have to enroll her in any sort of program, because I'm not sure like where we would be, because there's just so much, like, she's going to be a young 5. And I'm just grateful for the flexibility and the freedom of homeschool to be able to like start things when they're ready, and not because of some arbitrary age requirement. So she'll be moving into kindergarten, but I still think she's very much like, we will probably take a slower start. And I talked just a little bit in my last video about how she hasn't been required this past year to do lessons. It's just, if she wants to do them, I have worksheets for her that we can do, but she's not required to do them. And the only thing that I do require is that if she's going to sit down to do lessons, she has to follow the instructions. Because, you know, there's a tendency to listen to the instructions and then just kind of ignore them and do what she wants, or scribble on the page because she wants to scribble on the page, or whatever it is, even though she's fully capable of following the instructions. So there's been very little requirements, expectations of her when it comes to lessons. So the past several months, the end of the school year, she's really just not done them. I think she's learned that she can say no, she doesn't want to do them, which is fine. But I also think there's a part of her that's taking a bit of advantage of it, and she knows that she's taking advantage of it. So one of my like goals for her this year is that we have actually required lesson time, just because I think it's going to help her and her personality to like have to meet that requirement. Now, it doesn't mean that we're sitting down and doing like hours of worksheets. It could mean that we're sitting down and we're just reading a book together, and that's her lesson for the day, but it still is going to be required. The other main focus that I want to to focus on with her this year is social and emotional skills. My whole family has big emotions. There's nothing wrong with it, but it is a skill set to learn how to manage those emotions and to learn how to communicate those emotions in appropriate ways. And so she's just at that age where we really need to spend some time on it. So we're gonna be focusing on virtues, on manners, and just how to appropriately manage and communicate emotions. The other kind of main focus I want to focus, that's a weird phrase. The other main thing I want to focus on with her is speech and vocabulary. We're just still a little bit in that baby talk phase, which isn't that big of a deal, but I do think it's going to be a little bit of a hindrance when we go into phonics and reading and being able to pronounce things correctly. So I just want to put a focus on speech and vocabulary. Again, nothing official, nothing like super hard and strenuous, but just put a focus on that. The other thing is that I really want to get beyond the worksheets with her. She loved last year doing worksheets. That's what she asked for because she saw her sister doing them. But I think what's actually going to serve her more is a very kinesthetic style of learning, actually for both of my girls. And I mean, we'll be outside a lot of the time. There's going to be a lot of like natural learning, a lot of unschooling. So I think kinesthetic learning is just going to be a natural tendency for us this year, but I want to have that intention with her specifically to put a focus on that. Okay, so now for my oldest, my kind of personal goals for this coming school year is just one, to continue like building our solid foundation when it comes to reading, when it comes to writing. We're going to be adding spelling and some grammar, and just continue to like build on her knowledge base. Take it slow and steady, and just get her to a place where she's really able to take off in some of the things that she's interested in, like writing and storytelling. If you've watched any of my older videos from my previous channel, then you know that maybe our reading journey has not been linear. There's been some ups and downs. There's been some struggles. We're on a really good, she's doing great. So I'm not concerned about it, but it's just been a little bit more of a challenge for her. And that's been our main focus. Math and reading has been our main focus in our homeschool. And while she does great with it, it's also like working a very specific part of her brain. And while she hasn't really complained or anything, it's starting to feel like school, I think, to her. And I don't want her to have that feeling every time we sit down and have lessons. There's absolutely going to be things that are going to be a challenge. There are things that we're going to have to work through. Like, that's just a part of life and learning. Some things won't come naturally easy, and we'll have to work through that. And that's a great life skill, and just to know. But I also want her to get back to just the pure joy and love of learning. And so with her specifically, I want to double down and focus on the things that she's really gifted and skilled at. One, she's unbelievably compassionate, and she's very emotionally intelligent. She's very mature. And so social interactions, relationships, personal communication, interpersonal communication, honestly, she's like beyond her ages in those things. And so I want to take that and really double down on that strengths, double down on the things that she's naturally inclined to do. And a lot of that is why I think she loves the history when we do it. She loves the stories, the historical nonfiction when we read it, not the historical fiction, because it's just a connection with people and talking through, like, what do you think they felt? Is this how you would react? Like, just that connecting with stories and connecting with people's stories and being like empathic towards it. So that's one way that I want to double down, is just getting more into books, getting more into historical fiction, and just other really beautiful storytelling, because I think that's just gonna like fire her up. And then the other thing is a focus on art. She's super creative. She's really, I've already seen like she's very, what is the word? Spatial awareness. It's something that it took me forever to realize that's what I was gifted at, is being able to see something, see why you like it or see what works, and then be able to put it over here and maybe it looks a little different. Like there's just that visual connection and spatial awareness that she's very naturally gifted at. So we're going to put a huge focus on art and just creativity and building skills and knowledge towards that. So it's not just, even though like just loosey-goosey art and creativity is amazing and we're going to have some of that, it's also disciplining ourselves and learning how to become skilled and better at it and actually craft our skill set. And then lastly, I mean, this kind of goes back to our family, but she also has a huge love of nature and animals, and we're going to be spending a lot of time outside. So we're just naturally going to focus on nature, learning about animals, and I just want to have fun. I want lessons to be fun again, and I want her to really build up her confidence and her awareness that she is skilled and she is gifted and she has natural strengths and things, and that not everything is going to be a challenge to learn. So that is it for this video. Those are kind of our family visions, our homeschool visions, and individual goals for each of my girls. I would love to hear what your homeschool vision is this year, what some of your goals are for either your family or for your kids as you're moving into the new school year. Let me know in the comments below, and be sure to like and subscribe. I will be sharing in the next videos the curriculums that we're using, how exactly I plan on homeschooling on the road, the resources that we're using, like all the really fun like curriculum reveal things. So you'll want to stay tuned for that if you're anything like me and you love those kind of videos. All right, I'll see you next time.